You guys having fun? Namaste. One more time. Oh, here at Namasté, we feel some kind of way, something about we say we love, we really love. Two. Oh, we see you, we care. Please be yourself while you're here. That's exactly what. That's exactly what. That's exactly what keeps me coming back.
Yeah. How about that, Namaste? Give it up for Kong and Dez and Lorenzo. How about it? Getting us started. Because if you're not awake, you will be. So welcome. I'm Jesse, and I'd like to welcome you here to Namasté. Good afternoon. I'm glad you could join us, whether you're here in the sanctuary or you're online or you're watching this recording somewhere in the future. Welcome. And if you're new, we're glad you're here. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Namaste is a radically welcoming community. We believe that all paths lead to an awakening. We are here collectively revealing that love is the nature of who we already are. Feel that. And if you would read with me who we are. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is love, truth, light, and peace. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we recognize that we are one. Namaste. And just as a reminder, we have prayer cards, and you know your Namaste practitioners love to pray. And if you have any question about what a prayer card is, or that sounds really scary, having somebody pray for me, because I can pray for myself, a little extra prayer never hurts. You come and talk to us. We'll be in the back. You see us with our name tags on. You see us with our shawls on. Come and talk to us. Fill out a prayer card, and we'll love praying for you all throughout the week. And with that, Kong, you want to take it away? Oh, wait, Kong, hang on a second. Because I don't want to forget this. Next week is AFI, and what is the color for next week is red. I see you got your green on today. You got the message. Next week's red, and we'll probably remind you of that again. But now, Kong, take it away.
Thank you, Jesse. All right, you guys know this one. Let's have a good time. Let's sing along. Let's come together.
You can stand up.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves me and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Oh, and lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. In the name of person next to you. Say Namasté, I bow to you. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. And lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
Come together.
We come together.
Come together.
We come together.
Come together.
In the name of love, we come together.
Come together.
Come together.
Come together.
Come together.
Come together.
In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love.
Thank you. Phew. Thank you so much. Guys, give it up one more time for them. Will you? Feel that energy. Keep that energy going. So at this time, I'd like to invite up our wonderful practitioner, Jackie Williams Pearson, with our candle. And with this candle is the light. And that is the light that shines from within each and every one of us. It is the light of the divine creative spirit of life itself, that thing we call God, the thing we know is God. And as Jackie lights this candle, she illuminates it that in the hearts of each and every one of us. If you would now, from this sacred place, let's read our affirmation together. There is only one life. This life is God's life. This life is perfect. This life is my life now. If you pray with me right now, knowing that the divine creative spirit that is God, this thing we call life, is everywhere and in everything, and we invite it into our service today. We open our hearts and whole bodies to this experience of life, of God. And as we bring in this life, we know that it is working through us, as us right now. We know that it is working through our musicians. It is working through those that are supporting our streaming and our sound. We know that it's working through Rev Veronica and our practitioners to bring this service to uplift all who hear it, all in this sanctuary and all those that are online and all those that will hear this in the future. And I know that in this time, I say, this life, it brings us strength, it brings us courage to stand in the truth of who we are so that we can share more brilliantly, more openly, more lovingly with each and every person that we encounter and create a world that we know works for everyone, that we know is possible. And I say thank you, life. I say thank you, God. And so it is. And at this time, I'd like to invite up our illustrious Board of Trustee and practitioner, Debbie Ann Volks.
Thank you, Jesse. Yes, my name is Debbie Ann, and I am one of the board members here at Namasté, and I'd like to say good afternoon to everyone. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take 2 minutes to get up and say hello to someone, spend some time, greet each other, and when the music stops playing, go back to your seat. Yay! Yep. Awesome. It's lovely to see everybody here and in green so that we feel even more unified. Okay, we are going to go over our new and, 2.0, our mission. So if you'd like to read that with me. We are a joy-filled, loving center of spiritual growth. We create transformative connections and build bridges of unity for an all-inclusive humanity. We are Namasté. Okay, how do we do that? We awaken to a new truth in our lives. We realize how that truth has played out in our lives. We take our new knowledge and transform our lives, and then we repeat this process in our life in new ways. And our power statements here at Namasté: we are a place of connection, healing, and unity. Hashtag we are Namasté. Hashtag this stuff works. Okay, we're 2 classes in to AIF. The discussions are wonderful. Everybody is really getting a lot out of these classes. So we started on October 9th with a joint service at Seal Beach. Our book is called Stained Glass Spirit by Tracy Brown, who is a practitioner. And that's why we're wearing different colors. Both our center and Seal Beach is in green this week. Our closing event is on November 6th, right here at Namasté. So we're going to have Seal Beach here, and we're also going to have Tracy Brown, who's going to be speaking that day. So I don't know. I think that if you have a packet, you can start looking at this on your own. The small groups have already started, so you can't really join a small group at this point, but you can definitely pick up a packet and read along. And the talks are all based on AIF. And guess what? We are asking everybody, next Sunday, which is October 30th, it's wear red. Okay, that's going to be our color next week. Everybody should be in red. Okay, spiritual soup. This is our offering on the 4th Wednesdays of each month, hosted by Jeff Schlicht, who is our lead practitioner. And we're going to have an evening with John Dumas on October 26th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. All of the information is on our website, and it's also in the newsletter every week. And John Dumas is an internationally renowned musician, shamanic astrologer, inspirational teacher, and a pioneer in sound healing. So he's going to sit with Jeff in the same space in Sedona, and he's going to present meditation, music, discussion with John about his instruments and his sound healing. So this is not to be missed. Again, you can sign up on Eventbrite. Okay, digging deeper, first Wednesday of the month. So coming up on November 2nd at 7 p.m., we are going to have a presentation, Art Saves Lives. It's short films and conversations about addiction and shame. So if you know anybody that's struggling with addiction, this is going to be very beneficial. It's going to be Beth Syverson. She was already here speaking at Namasté this year, and Alex Kaplan, and he's a short filmmaker. He's not short, but he makes short films. Just want to clear that up. He and Beth will facilitate a safe and transformative conversation with the participants that are on Zoom. He creates the short films, which are usually 4 to 6 minutes, that prompt deeper conversation about changing our relationships with struggle and addiction. So this is, again, not to be missed. First Wednesday, 7 p.m., you can register on Eventbrite, and those links are on our newsletter and our website. And then our spiritual practices that we have every week in the morning at 7 a.m. is led by our wonderful practitioners here at Namasté, and it's a good way to jumpstart your morning. It's every weekday, 7 a.m., prayer support and connection. You can call in or you can join on Zoom. And then the Safe Place is an ongoing hour-long grief support group every second Wednesday at 7 p.m. and fourth Monday at 10 a.m. And this support group has been created to support grief from life's events, the changes they bring, and to find comfort and community. Please register on Eventbrite. Again, those links are on Facebook and our newsletter and our website. Thank yous. Okay, thank you. Big thank you go to everybody that participated in fellowship. Last week, there was a lot of yummy food and spooky food. It was Halloween themed. Rona and Greg and Layla set the whole thing up. It was awesome. Everybody looked like they were, it was in our fellowship hall, so you could sit down and chat. It was really nice to see everybody in connection. Okay. And I'm going to turn it over to our illustrious music team.
Thank you. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Thank you, Kong and Des and Lorenzo. I'm Jesse Keeler, and I'm licensed to pray through the Centers for Spiritual Living. The other night, I had a dream about a woman. Perhaps you have heard of her, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. And in my dream, the friends that I was with, they all kind of, they didn't want to talk to her, but I was like, no, I want to go talk to her. And I walked over to her and I said, why do you hate me? You know, it's one way to start a conversation, I guess. Why do you hate me? And she kind of looked at me and she said, I don't hate you. I said, yeah, but the words you speak, the things you say in the world, it's hateful towards people like me. You don't even know me. I'm just a working guy. I'm an American. I pay taxes. I'm a citizen. I'm one of your fellow citizens. Why do you hate me? And when I woke up, I started thinking about the relationship of fear and hate. And that hatred is often spawned from fear. And because of that, it's a fundamentally weak position to come from. Ernest Holmes wrote in Effective Prayer, you should be careful not to fight fear too much, but rather, through a sort of flexible imagination, convert fear into faith. He went on to say, in effect, realizing that the energy of fear converted into faith will produce an effect exactly opposite. If you will look at the thing you are afraid of until you really understand it, it will no longer have any element of fear for you. I don't have to tell you that there's a lot of hate being spewed in the world today. And there are a lot of people using threats to intimidate and make other people afraid and try to control other people. And I know if I allow fear to dominate my thoughts, what our philosophy teaches me is what? If I'm thinking about fear, I'll be experiencing more fear. And fear will drive my actions, which will mean in turn that I'm not in my power. I'm not living from that deep knowing, the faith that I'm an individuation, an expression of the divine creative spirit, the source of all life, the entity we call God. A little later in the same passage, Ernest Holmes wrote, "Love overcomes both hate and fear. However, love does not overcome hate and fear through controversy, argument, or force, but by a subtle power of transformation, transmutation, and implementation. It is invisible in its essence, but apparent through its act." Now, that's not some passive, wishy-washy, walk all over me type of love. That is a fierce, life-affirming, courageous love. That's the divine creative spirit, the source of life, the creator of planets and stars, of microbes and water droplets, that created each one of us and wants to express through each one of us. We have what it takes to love and care for each other. Beyond our appearances, differences, and into the unity back of the multiplicity. Now, if you just settle in for a moment, untangle yourself, maybe put your feet on the floor if that's comfortable, sit upright, open up your chest. You can rest your hands comfortably in your lap. If you want to soften your gaze or close your eyes, I want you to take in a deep breath with me and just exhale that out. And as you breathe, bring to mind what you fear, what you may hate, what may drive you into a rage. Just bring that in front of you, into your mind's eye. And as you breathe, listen to these words of Ernest Holmes, and let's transform it and transmute it. Love dissolves all fear. Breathe that. Love dissolves all fear. Greater than love, greater than fear is love. Love dissolves all fear, casts out all doubt, and sets the captive free. Breathe with me. Love, like the river of life, flows through me and refreshes me with its eternal blessings. Breathe that in and exhale. Breathe in. Love cannot be afraid. It is fearless and strong. It is mighty in its works. Breathe that in. It can accomplish all things through the inner light of that faith in the all-good, which fills my very being with a powerful presence. And affirm this with your breath. Love casts out all fear. Breathe that in. Love casts out all fear. Breathe out your fear. Yeah, breathe that out. Breathe in the love. And as you exhale, cast out your fear. Cast out your hate. Cast out what drives you into rage. Breathe in the love. And as you exhale, cast out all fear. And when you're ready, return to the space you're in right here and right now. And calm, rise up.
Spend your whole life building something from nothing. One storm could come and blow it all away. Build it anyway. You can chase a dream that seems so out of reach, and you know it might not ever come your way. anyway. 'Cause God is great. Sometimes life ain't good. When I pray, it doesn't always turn out like I think it should, but I do it anyway. I do it anyway. This world's gone crazy. It's hard to believe that tomorrow will be better than today. Believe it anyway. You can love someone with all your heart, all the right reasons, and in a moment they can choose to walk away. Well, love them anyway. 'Cause God is great. Sometimes life ain't good. And when I pray, it doesn't always turn out like I think it should, but I do it anyway. You can pour your soul out and sing it, a song you believe in. Tomorrow they'll forget you ever sang, but sing it anyway. Sing it anyway. I dream it anyway. I love it anyway. I love it anyway. Love it anyway. All right, thank you, Rev. Veronica.
Yes, I love that song. Do it anyway. Love anyway. Dream anyway. So, hello, namaste. And that rhymed. Okay, I didn't mean that to rhyme, but it rhymed. So good to see everyone. And welcome those who are watching on live stream. I'm so glad to be here. As we said, we're in the middle of our adventures in faith, and we're reading Tracy Brown's book, Stained Glass Spirit, and we are in the middle of it. And I'm so excited that we said yes to this, because this is important stuff that we're doing, and we're really, I would say, walking the talk. And that's what the topic is for this coming week in Adventures in Faith. So I just want to thank everyone who's participating in the month-long program, because I know it's going to make a difference, individually and collectively. So I want to start off today with a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. And it says, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. And that quote really touched my heart because it gave me the opportunity to look at my life and where I have been silent. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And we're going to talk about the words that are used in that quote, the bad people and the good people. So first, let's talk about science of mind that uses the term race suggestion or race thought. And it's kind of an awkward term, but what it means is that human beliefs operating through the mentality, the mind of the individual. This race suggestion is a prolific source of disease. These accumulated subjective tendencies of the human race are operative through any person who is receptive to them. Now, what does all that mean? In other words, the collective thoughts of the human race from the beginning of time can unconsciously and consciously affect us and influence us. That is race consciousness. That is the soup that we are swimming in. And the reason why that is important, that Ernest Holmes talks to us about race suggestion, is because through our prayer work, through our spiritual practices, and through awareness, we can, if you will, rise above race consciousness to be open and receptive to the mind of God, rather than to the exterior silent suggestions that sometimes we make decisions like, why did I do that? Where did that come from? And so what that is called, as you may have seen a handout, did anyone not receive the handout on the cycles of socialization and the cycles of liberation? I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And the reason is because this cycle, this chart here, literally changed my life. I was, during a diversity class in ministerial school, we were given this book, I can't remember the name of it at this time, but we talked about this cycle of socialization. And it's the soup that we swim in. At the beginning, we're born. Okay, we're born into a world with all the mechanics already in place. We're just little infants, and we don't know any better, right? We are dependent on our parental, the people who in our life who are our parental representatives. And so if you follow that arrow, the first socialization is that we're taught by our parents, our relatives, our people that we love. And what they teach us is they teach us who we should love and who we should trust and who is not trustworthy. They teach us how to act. I remember as a kid, they teach us how to act in church. Didn't anybody ever get the pinch? They teach us things like, oh, don't play like a girl, you play like a girl. Or they teach us, don't trust that person. And so where are all these things coming from? And then we literally conform to our parents or whatever the parental figures are. We conform to their point of view because that's what we are subjected to. But their point of view was their parents' point of view, yes? And their parents' parents' point of view, and so on, ancestors and ancestors back. We have inherited these teachings as just a child born into the world. But there's more. We get to go to school, and we get to go to church, and we get to watch TV. And then our very receptive mind gets to learn about fitting in and who gets picked on or who gets preferential treatment. We get to learn about the rules, and we get to learn from media. And what's even more so now than when I was a kid, there is so much media now. Yes, there's like the internet and social media and the television, and there's so much more influence of the media. And this has influenced us on conscious and unconscious levels. And how I know that is because when I was a child, my mom listened to William Hornaday, which is Ernest Holmes' sidekick. Ernest Holmes is the founder of Science of Mind. She listened to him on the radio every day, every morning. And so that was playing in my background. And I didn't know who he was or what he was talking about. But I think that had a lot to do with me standing up here as a minister here today. That unconscious influence of the media that was playing around me. And then what happens? Well, it just gets reinforced and reinforced, and we're just born into this pot of soup. And we scratch our heads sometimes when we see these things happening in the world that, God, that just doesn't seem right. In like my human heart, like, that's not right. But why don't I speak up? Why don't I say something? Because I've been socialized that not to rock the boat. Or maybe I've been rewarded for pushing people down to bring myself up. Maybe I got a promotion. And so the world keeps in this vicious cycle, and we don't even know that it's happening half the time. We don't even realize. It's kind of like a fish saying, "What water?" And then what happens after we've gone through this cycle is that we start to notice a dissonance. It's just not, this is not in alignment with who I know myself to be. But yet we're still silent. And then the anger starts to build within us. And then there's like an ignorance to what is happening out there in the world. And the ignorance doesn't mean that we're dumb. An ignorance is that we just don't know. We just don't know. And so this is happening for all of us. All colors, all abilities, all religions, every single person. You know, in our talking, in our Adventures in Faith discussions, you know, we talked about the word, we'd used the word privilege, we've used the word oppressed. But wherever you fall, it's all socialization. Whether you're wealthy or whether you're in poverty, it's all still socialization that we've learned from generations and generations. Till it comes to a point where we, because we have learned so much, we become our own oppressors. How many times have you hesitated to speak up for something that you know isn't right, but you've held yourself back? And that is because that is how we're trained. Don't rock the boat. That's how I was trained. Don't rock the boat. So because we are all in the same socialized world, it really creates a space for forgiveness. Because we're all in it together. You know, Ernest Holmes talks to us about our oneness. We talked about it in our affirmation. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life right now. That life is everyone's life right now. And if we are being socialized and programmed and reprogrammed, if you will, all of us, maybe there can be some forgiveness for all of it. For all of it. Maybe there's some room in there. And then we get to that point where we're like, well, it's always been this way. I just give up. But you know, what holds this cycle of socialization in place is one being a victim and the other feeling guilty. If you're feeling guilty for maybe having privilege, that serves no one, and it keeps the cycle of socialization in place. It reinforces it. If you're feeling a victim of it as well, that holds it in place. So what do we do? What do we do? Well, there's a fork in the road, if you notice, right about, 8 o'clock on the cycle? There's a fork. One, you can do nothing, you can make no waves, you can promote the status quo, and the cycle continues. Or you can raise consciousness and interrupt the cycle. But the interesting thing about this cycle is at the very center, the very core, if you look, the very core of this cycle of socialization is fear. And we talked about fear. Jesse talked about fear. Ignorance, confusion, and insecurity. It's really hard to change the world from that as the core, yes? So what do we need? We need what's called cognitive dissonance, where something like shakes our boots. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, this isn't right. What can I do? And you know, I'll tell you a little story about one of the cognitive dissonance episodes that happened in my life that woke me up, is that I have 2 beautiful children who are here today. And I have a friend, one of my coworkers that I worked at Little Company of Mary. She was a really good friend of mine. She went to Agape, we went to Agape, and she had 2 teenage kids that used to babysit for us. And Terry, my dear friend, she's African American, and her kids are African American, Jasmine and Jason. And Jason used to babysit for us, and Jason's like 6'3", you know, he was probably about 16 or 17 years old. And the kids loved him because he'd roughhouse and carry him on their shoulders, and had a good time. And I said to Terry, you know, when Jason babysits, you know, tomorrow, he can just take him to McDonald's, so that way they get him out of the house and they have something to do. And Terry's response was, surprised me. She said, "You want my black son to take your white children and walk them to McDonald's?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she shook her head, and she said, "Do you know what would happen to him if the police saw him, a black young man, walking these small white children down the street?" And my jaw dropped because I didn't know. And that was a moment where something shifted inside of me, like, oh my God, that's not right. Ooh, I could feel it right now. That's just not right. And so that helped me, or launched me into even more exploration about social injustice, and why can't this beautiful young man, Jason, who loves our kids, walk my kid to McDonald's, you know, and not have to worry about the police. And so what happens when we have that disruption, when we get a different point of view, is that something inside of us says, this picture, this race suggestion that I'm living in, it needs to change. It needs to change. And so then when we're at this fork in the road, this is when we get to facilitate change. And if you turn the paper over, you'll see that there is a cycle of liberation by, once again, the author is Bobby Harrow. And she writes, at the upper left-hand side, there's a little, it says waking up. And what that means is that there's a critical incident that creates cognitive dissonance, where things don't match up for you anymore. And you have to say, what am I going to do? And I'm hoping that our adventures in faith and reading Tracy Brown's book is going to create some cognitive dissonance within us so that we can have a different point of view, a different pair of glasses, if you will, so that we can see the areas in our life maybe that we could call blind spots, that maybe we can speak up where we haven't spoken up before. Because once we have that waking up in our life, you can see it says we're going to get ready. And what that means is we're empowering ourselves. We're dismantling old beliefs. We're developing tools and analysis, and we're gaining inspiration and authenticity. That's what we're doing in our Adventures in Faith class. And then if you go around the circle, you notice that we start to reach out, movement out towards others, seeking experiences and exposures, speaking out and naming injustices. Why? Because we are all one. You know, Ernest Holmes tells us that there's no separation, that I am you and you are me. And when we see injustice, it can't help but turn our stomach if we truly believe that I am you and you are me and that we are one. And from there, we build community. And I'm not going to go too much into detail in this because this is a workshop in and of itself. And we start working together to create change and maintain this change. And this is the cycle of liberation that we've broken into. Tracy Brown tells us everyone has bias of one form or another. We're born into it. To overcome my bias is a discipline. And that I had never thought of that before. That to overcome my bias is a discipline. I am not free of bias. I'm not standing up here saying that I am. I see it. I hear it come out of my mouth. So we just own it. We just own it. And have compassion for yourself on your journey and have compassion for that who is affected. And there's the cycle of liberation that once again has the critical incident. And so what I'm saying is, from the first quote from Martin Luther King Jr., is that silence equals agreement. I have had many times in my life where I have been quiet when I've seen something that wasn't right. And I know how that felt inside of me. And it wasn't like, it's not that it's comfortable, it's just there's different levels of discomfort. And so finally the discomfort became more than whatever benefit. The only benefit I could see that I got out of it was just avoiding conflict. Because I was raised to avoid conflict at all costs. So to speak up meant that it could be something uncomfortable could happen, or I could be retaliated against. And those are my own fears, but why? People with power can retaliate, but more than likely, that's just a fear that stops me. So I want you to think about, what is the fear within you that stops you from speaking up, from saying the truth for what you see is happening in this world? You know, my new friend, Athia Karim, some of you may have seen her. She came up here and spoke. She's a Muslim woman who is the director of education at the International Institute of Tolerance in Carson. And she told me something she was up to because she has a strong social justice background. And she is working with a team to dissect the policies and procedures of the Los Angeles School District, looking for hidden bias, implicit bias, any type of bias in the terminology of the policies and the procedures of the Los Angeles School District. That's big time. That's dedication. That is beautiful. Yes? That is really beautiful. And I want to read to you when I was a ministerial student. We were asked to write about what we were going to do in this world with regards to diversity and inclusion. And it's going to be a little bit long, but my heart was called to read this to you. One of the insights I had as a result of taking the diversity and ministry class is that I don't always speak up for what's right. I have observed myself, my silence. What I realized is that silence means consent. Consent means to give approval, to agree. I have been, through my silence, agreeing with wrongdoing, agreeing with the ignorance and the unconscious behaviors of others. I have discovered that the antidote to silence is first courage and then action. There is an area in Harrow's cycle of socialization where there's a fork in the road. Once we have seen the results of our actions or inactions, which are the results of my own socialization that I've received from my institutions and cultures, we get to this fork in the road, this choice. This choice is whether we want to continue the cycle of socialization and perpetuate the problem, or gather the courage needed to take the fork of change. Harrow says that being unwilling to interrupt the cycle, we perpetuate the system of oppression. When looking at the power of socialization and the impact it has on those oppressed, it has affected me in different ways. Firstly, in the past, I have been on both sides of oppression, and in hindsight, neither side felt good. From an ego standpoint, I am sure there was some conscious or unconscious benefit I received from the oppression of others. But as I look at the core, the center of the cycle of socialization, I see fear, ignorance, confusion, insecurity, power or powerlessness. Therefore, that was at the core of my actions when participating in oppression, by action or by silence. I've been able to look at my own fear of not being liked, not fitting in, or my plain old insecurity that I sustained in the cycle of socialization. How this awareness has now impacted me was during an interview with a minister. This was part of my ministerial studies. I will not disclose the denomination of this minister or where they were from, but we were talking about how diversity is honored at their church. And one of the answers, the minister said, "We do not celebrate Black History Month because we do not have any African Americans in our congregation." There was a pause in time for me, where a knowingness came upon me that this is a moment of change. Now, I don't mean any disrespect for the minister. This is about an opening in awareness. That pause in time is what consciousness brings. It brings that defining moment where one has an actual ability to choose, where that ability did not exist before. Unconsciousness is blinding. It takes away our ability to even know there is a different choice. With all the courage I could find, my best answer that I had at that time is I said, I have asked my church to acknowledge Gay Pride Month to bring awareness to our congregation. It was indirect, but it was my best ability. I was in training. But it was enough that I could see the wheels churning in this minister's mind. It was very uncomfortable, as I, a ministerial student, felt like I was challenging a very established minister. Silence would have meant my agreement with it that it's okay to not celebrate Black History Month. All of my stuff came up, wanting to be liked, not wanting to be a troublemaker. Baharo tells it that fear interrupts the system. Fear of interrupting the system reminds us of what happens to targets who challenge the existing power structures. You're being labeled a troublemaker. I know that this minister would not retaliate, but the fear of retaliation was very real for me. I've lived with the guilt and inner disgust of not speaking up for someone, even for myself, when I have observed oppression in some shape or form. Silence not only means agreement, but also silence means a slow, nagging virus eating away at my soul. It affects not only me, but all of us because of our unification with each other. Dr. Martin Luther King proudly states, "An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." That is the relationship between diversity and oneness. That from the place that God is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, what happens to one happens to all. We are interconnected. That is what causes the pain in our gut when we see injustice to a brother or sister. Lastly, regarding the silence, the discomfort has surpassed the comfort. That really wasn't comfort, just a lesser degree of discomfort. There's a saying that life begins at the end of your comfort zone. No one ever says, "Yay, I'm so happy to be uncomfortable." No. But it is that exact avoidance of discomfort that holds this oppressive structure in place. Our addiction to comfort supports a world of apathy and passivism. This approach will continue the cycle of socialization, which propagates racism, classism, sexism, heterosexism, ableism, youth and elder oppression, religious oppression, and more. What will the critical incident that creates a cognitive dissonance be for you? This is the place I'd like to strive towards as a minister and a human being, when I show by example that it is okay to stand up for inclusivity and equality. I show others to do the same. It won't be easy, and sometimes it won't feel safe. I see as a New Thought community who believes in change your thinking, change your life, it is our responsibility to create the world we want to live in, a world that works for everyone. It doesn't happen for us, it happens through us. And I'll close with this statement, that God is diversity. If you look around, there's diversity everywhere. Inclusion is up to us. Inclusion is courageous. And let us pray as we close our eyes and go within, to that place that resides within us, to that place that has never been hurt, harmed, that never worries, that place that does not need forgiveness, that God space. And that God space that resides within us resides everywhere around us. It is the same God stuff. And it is from this place that I speak my word right here and right now, that love is the answer. Love is the answer and always is the answer. That courage is the answer. That as we speak from love. We speak from oneness. We speak from wholeness. We speak from that we know as to be the truth of who we are. I know this to be so. I accept it to be so. I declare this moment as holy. I declare this service as holy, as we all say together. And so it is. Amen, amen. All right. And Kong, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know that love will save the day.
Very true.
All
and
right.
Thank you for picking this wonderful song. It's almost as powerful as your talk today. So thank you, Rev. Veronica.
Thank you.
unfolds. Challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you fear. Go ahead, release your fears. Stand up and be counted. Don't be ashamed to cry. Gotta be bad. You gotta be bold. Gotta be wiser. Gotta be hard. Gotta be tough. You gotta be stronger. Gotta be cool. You gotta be calm. Gotta get together. All I know, love will save the day.
Well, Harold, what your mother said, reading books your father read, try to solve the puzzles on your own sweet time. Some may have more cash than you, others take a different view. My, oh, my, hey, hey, hey.
Gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, gotta be wiser,
Gotta be wiser,
gotta be hard, gotta be tough, you gotta stick stronger,
gotta be stronger,
gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, gotta stick together. All I know, love will save the day.
Don't ask no questions, it's all without you, leaving you behind if you can't stand the pain. The world keeps on spinning, you can stop it if you try. Times are dangerous, staring you in the face.
This is another day unfolds. Challenge what your future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. My, oh, my, hey, hey. Gotta be
bold, gotta be wiser,
gotta be hard, gotta be tough. We gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, gotta be calm, gotta stick together. All I know, love will save the day. Gotta be, 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 gotta be.
all I know is love will save the day.
Yes. All I know is love will save the day. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I had this vision of Kong and Des doing a duet, and I'm so glad you guys said yes. That was awesome. That was awesome. And thank you, Lorenzo, for burning it up over there on the keys. Thank you, thank you. Awesome. All right. Okay, let's see here. And it is time to talk about our tithing and giving in whatever shape or form that you choose to give. And, you know, the teachings is that we give to a place that we are spiritually fed. And our hopes is that you are spiritually fed here at Namasté, that you feel like you're part of a community that feeds you and that fulfills you and that you feel safe here. And so we are appreciative and grateful for whatever shape or form that you choose to give, whether it is of service, whether it's financially, whether it's a big hug and lots of love. We accept, yes, because it's all God and it's all good. Yes, yes. So the reminder that you can pay, you can use PayPal, Venmo, Give Plus. Go to our website as a way and a form to give financially. And let us say our affirmation together. Take a deep breath in, let it all out. I am one with the unity of all life. I give from this place of oneness. My abundance is anchored in that oneness. I honor the oneness of others. We affirm this as true And so it is, and so it is. Yes, indeed. I want to take this time to thank everyone that helped us put this together, and I know I have that over here somewhere. No, do you have an order service? That microphone. Thank you. Thanks, Jesse. All right. So let's thank everybody who helped put this service together, and if I forgot you in any way, shape, or form, know that you are never forgotten, okay? And that we appreciate your service here today. Let's thank Jesse for being our host, our practitioner. Good job. Thank you, thank you. Yes, thank you, Kong, Des, and Lorenzo for knocking it out of the park. Yes, our sound and streaming, Lena and Matt. Thank you so much. Woo! And Jackie Williams-Pearson for our practitioner. And for the slides, Susan or whoever did the slides, thank you for doing the slides. They appreciate it. Debbie Ann Volks, thank you for being our Board of Trustees on duty. And Julie Gano and all of our welcome team, we appreciate you so much for being our welcome team, and thank you for handing out the flyers to everyone on the way in. Thank you so much. And I want to thank Reverend Bobby for the opportunity to speak today, and I'm always glad when she takes time, her self-care time as well. So we love you, Reverend Bobby. Yes. All right. So as we, let's see. So we thank everyone, and then we're going to come up forward to put out the candle, and as we are putting the light out on this candle, just know that our light never goes out. And although it looks like we're ending service, we are beginning service. We are beginning service because we are taking it outside of this building and we're sharing it with others. And so thank you for doing that. And thank you, Jackie, for holding the light for us. Yes, yes. All right. Are we ready to do our benediction? Jesse, you want to help me with this? All right. Oh, just one more time, just in case you might have forgot in the last 20 minutes. Tomorrow, next Sunday, we're wearing red. We are wearing red. Red. All right, we have our benediction. So tell me about this thing called life.
What's happening right now?
Something wonderful is happening through me right.
All right, I need everybody up. Yes, we got to get into this full body experience here. Okay. What is it? It's this thing called life.
And where is life? Life is in my body. Life is all that I am.
And life is all that we. Yes. And what do we do with life? I accept it. I am it. And I share it with all. Hang on. Do you share it only when you like it? How do you share it?
Just the way it appears now. Are you ready? Get yourself ready. Wiggle those toes. Feel that energy moving up through your feet. Moving up through your body. Up through the top of your head. Let it shoot out. And what do we say with all our heart? Thank you, life.
Thank you, Namasté. We got one more for you. Let's have a good time. Hey. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive with the Spirit. Alive with the Spirit. Alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all. Alive with the Spirit of God. I am 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 alive, y'all. Alive with the Spirit of God. Hey, hey. One last time, I am alive with the Spirit of God. Let me hear it. I am
Alive with the Spirit of God.
I am alive with the Spirit, alive with the Spirit, alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all, alive with the Spirit of God. I am alive, y'all, alive with the Spirit of God.
Woo! Yes, yes. Thank you all. Have a great week. And wear red.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Nice, guys. I love the rock out.